that I came up with the idea of her touring the country with this concept of running her pictures. She would walk out and talk about them, you know, and that's how that all began. And that changed her career in a big kind of way. And the man that directed this movie, Kurt Oswald, directed her in another picture that became a big success. I think it was with her New York band. I don't know. You're kind of throwing me with these questions.
Well, I am because you know all these stars and you perform with all these stars.
But that was a real great pleasure to be with Betty Davis. She was my friend, and I loved her dearly, and she was an amazing, amazing person.
And I think these were the ladies that we all remember because in your new book, this is the golden age. These were the stars who were stars. I don't think you ever would have seen Betty Davis or Elizabeth Taylor or these kind of stars walk out of their front door in their sweats. I mean, they were like the gentlemen were. When they were going out, they were stars.
Oh yeah, they were the big ones, absolutely the big ones,
And not taking money from them. And you were very fortunate enough to perform with them.
yeah, I had some very, very big breaks. You know that this book that some of you were at the signing of was on the New York Times bestseller list for a period of time. And the book that I wrote before this was on the New York Times bestseller, and the publisher, Viking, Scott Iman, who wrote this book with me, we went to them with another idea, and they're going to publish it in 2 years. I guess we'll finish it in a couple of years. And it's about, I'm going to call it, I Loved Her in the Movies, which is about all of these women, you know, about all the ladies.
So if I give you an adjective, off the top of your head, can you tell me which classic star comes to mind?
Am I going to get in trouble for this?
No. I could.
Did you all understand that question?
Yeah. Okay, no, this is easy. I'm not going to hurt you. Which of the female stars you co-starred with best fits the description, the most chemistry with you? Not stumping.
Are you talking about Stephanie?
I don't know. I'm saying you tell me. Who would you have the most chemistry with? On screen.
Well, you know, my late wife Natalie and I did a couple of films together.
You did.
We had tremendous chemistry. You know, tremendous chemistry. She was one of the most lovely women I've ever known in my life, and we did like 2 films together, and she was a marvelous actress. You know, she started when she was about 4.5, 5 years old, and she worked with Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert, and she played a German girl. They dyed her hair. She had to have an accent, and she's just brilliant in this picture. And you wonder where all that came from. I mean, it's a God-given talent, you know. And she was just an amazing actress and a wonderful, wonderful human being, great woman.
She was underrated. I don't ever think she got all the credit she deserved, because she was so good in every film she did. She really was. Most generous working with you on screen.
The most generous. What comes to, you know, I really didn't know you were going to ask me these questions. I would say what comes into my mind is Sophia Loren.
Wow, really?
She was just fabulous. And I just was so thrilled with her. I loved her very much. Everybody fell in love with her. Sophia. She was just the most wonderful, and is the most marvelous lady. I mean, just fantastic.
Most enchanting.
Most enchanting.
I know the answer to this one.
Does it start with an A?
Yeah.
Yes.
The most enchanting woman I think that I've ever met is Audrey Hepburn. And, she was the most special lady I've ever known. She reflected everything in her life in every way. I mean, it was reflected in the clothes that she wore, the flowers that she had in the house, choice of decor, furniture, everything. Everything was just, you look at it and you say, that's Audrey Hepburn. You know, I was so excited to work with her. I really I met her when she first came over to America to be in a film, and I was doing a picture with Spencer Tracy at Paramount, and she was there, and I was so thrilled to meet her. She was just starting. I knew her for a long time. She was very wonderful, wonderful woman.
I think Audrey was as you saw her. It was very true. What you saw, that was Audrey. Two more, and then we're going to get to the movie. Most complicated.
This is better than the movie.
I know it is. No, it isn't. No, but it's more fun. Right? Please. Most complicated.
Most complicated.
Aren't you interested in that? No? Okay, we're moving on.
Most complicated. Jeez, that's a tough one. Yeah.
Okay. What about your biggest crush? He had so many, he can't think.
I think my biggest crush, I would say, was Barbara Stanwyck. Yeah,
Probably hers was you.
a great time.
Okay, we'll move on to Joanne Woodward, because she is indeed the star of A Kiss Before Dying. Both of you were 26, almost exactly the same age in that film. And yet the subject matter was one that I don't think they would even, she is going to have a baby, but they wouldn't allow, I don't think they wouldn't allow the word pregnant to be used in advertising, would they?
No, they wouldn't have that at that time.
Yeah, it was so crucial.
Yeah, it was very crucial to the film and very crucial to the selling of the film, and they got stopped by that.
In fact, the first scene, I think, in the film, I mean, this film just, boom, starts out immediately with setting what the story is, and setting your character as a little bit to be leery of. You don't play who you think you are. Yeah. He's not exactly who he thinks he is.
It's true.
Were you hesitant in taking a role like that, or were you thrilled?
No, I love this role. My sister had read this. It was in a magazine called Red Book, and she read it and she said, this is a wonderful character for you. And the book was. I've often wondered why she wrote it. And Ira Levin, who went on to write some great screenplays and a marvelous writer, wrote it, and it was his first picture that he sold. There were a lot of firsts in this, a lot of firsts.
And was it your style in this film is very cool. I mean, really cool. Very dressed impeccably well. Not at all, it's totally against type. So all of that probably had to be put on purpose. To throw the audience off, or not let them know exactly what's going to happen.
I think so. We looked at all those ideas and whatever we could, however we could take the audience in a different direction. When you were saying that, I was thinking about, the woman that plays my mother in this film such a nice mother. To have such a wonderful mother as Mary Astor. How could she produce such a despicable guy?
And it doesn't really say, there's really not a backstory in how he became so despicable, except that he wanted a lot of money, right?
Yeah, we didn't get into a lot of backlight, first of all, we didn't have the time.
Right.
And secondly, it was right up to this point. It was at this point that everything was happening, so we didn't have to go back in and search for all that.
Did you get any flack for after doing a role like this? Because you were so known as the films the roles you played before, and all of a sudden you
Karen, that was a great role. And any time an actor can get a chance to do something completely different, it's kind of a great moment for them because the audience doesn't expect that, and you don't have to explain it. It's there.
If you get offered too many more roles like that,
No, they didn't come along. There wasn't too many that came along after that.
would you like to play a conniving murderer now?
I would. I would very much like
I think
to play
you'd like
a
to-
murderer.
You'd like to murder me for asking him about I think that's what you'd like to do. When you see yourself on the screen as that young man at 26, what do you see? What did you see?
I always think about when we were making the picture, and not so much of the acting and the characters and the stuff in front of the camera, but the relationships that existed after that. That's what always has made it, wonderful to me. Like I said, we were all young, we were all having a great time, but most of the pictures I've made have had wonderful relationships and had memories brought back to me that are so profound and mean so very much to me. And, like I was talking to someone out here about the Pink Panther, and had such great relationships out of that picture, with David and Evan and with Peter. We were all great friends, and Capucine, and the moments that Blake Edwards, and those times together are what are memorable to me, because when you do a picture, film, you can see through it. It's like smoke, and you do it's a moment, and can be very great, but it's gone, or it can be a film that really holds up and stays up there, If you have one of those, you're lucky in your career, very lucky.
Do you now, at this time of your life, do you hang on to friendships? Do you hang on to those relationships that mattered so much that the people, fortunately, they're still with us?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's good.
Yes, I do very much. I've got some great friends. I've made some great friends out of this work, and it's been so wonderful to me. I always wanted to be in the movies from the time that I was a kid, and I was very fortunate that what I wanted to do happened for me in my heart, my soul, and it's just been absolutely, I've been so fortunate and so blessed over my lifetime, and it's just a privilege for me to be a part of this, and it's a privilege for me to be here with all of you and have your interest and want to see a picture like this, and come and see me when I was signing those books. People were saying, so happy to see me, and over the years, it's an extraordinary feeling, and I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think sometimes it's difficult, having known as many legends as been in my life not as many as yours, but a lot of legends. I don't think a lot of those actors have that same feeling as you were lucky enough to have. I think some of the actors, as they grow older, they tended to become sometimes sad, sometimes regretful, sometimes they missed so much. But I think you have really hung on to what really mattered to you, and you still let it matter to you today. I think that's what makes the difference. And you've also hung on to the one thing that today's stars don't have, and that's style. And you write about that, and you write about that in your book, but you live what you write. And I don't think a lot of actors, I haven't seen too many actors, I can't think of one, who has, I can't think of one, and tell me if I'm wrong, is there one male actor today that has a style like you have maintained, or like Gary Cooper had, or Fred Astaire had, or Gene Kelly? They're just, times have changed.
Yeah, I think they have, but thank you for all those things that you said. But I was brought up on those guys, you know. I was brought up on Gary Cooper, and Clark Gable, Cary Grant, and Fred Astaire. What a break. What a wonderful opportunity. I mean, I was so lucky, so fortunate. And they made some great pictures. God, they were so good at those guys. They were such marvelous actors.
Do you have, to the young, and I know there are a lot of young people that come to these festivals too, do you have something you'd like to say to them, leave with them about why it's important to remember this? As your book says, you just have to remember this.
Oh, well, no, that's... You know, I just think the most important thing, I mean, there's so many things in life that are so important to all of us, but, you know, when you really can kind of make it kind of simple, I think you got to have a lot of imagination, and you got to have a lot of, you kind of look at it and say, hey, there is another moment, there is another time. Just take a little deep breath in for a second and say, hey, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can make that. Maybe I can be that. I don't know, you know, my daughter just had a child, and I think that's probably the most important thing in life, you know, to be there for them, for that child at that moment, at that time, to be able, and only the mother can do it, you know, to be there for them. And I look at them and I think, God, isn't that amazing? I mean, because that is what life is all about. And if you can take that in to yourself and have it be something that you can hold within your heart, within your soul. I think that's what's important. That's, to me, is what's, I think.
What you take away from all of that, which leads me to something, were any of you here for Shirley Jones last week? Because we did something with Shirley, which I'm going to do with you. That's what we